Yeah, hi. It's been quite a hectic day yesterday. I was getting loads of sticks ready because obviously summer is going to be our main selling season, and on top of that, our stall is starting to sell quite a few, so I've got to start replacing those and getting stock together. I've got the blanks which I've shaped and sanded and started getting ready, so I've got to crack on, do the finishing, get the artwork, and get them all ready. And I've got the school run to do in a moment, and that's always fun. And yeah, it's a big fight to get them ready for school. Not because they don't want to go to school, just that they like to have one almighty big fuss and game about it, running around the house. Um, Having to play Siren Head, running after them, making weird noises just to get them into the bathroom or get them dressed. It's absolutely crazy times, really. And while while that's just been finished off, i.e., they're sitting down getting their shoes, I've got to get the chickens done. That never stops. I mean, that's just a routine with animals. So I've got to do those, and then by the time I've done that and watered them, I'll have to jump in the car and do the school run. I'm having a bad hair day, but so be it. But yeah, I've also noticed that with everything, with how things are at the moment, people are requesting just that little bit more artwork to personalise them, and basically it's for the same money. I don't mind that. We're all going through a bit of a hard time at the moment, and we're expected to get worse financially. So yeah, I do kind of see now that that one, shall we say, hare or fox head on to personalise a stick isn't really going to draw people in like it did before. People are requesting two or three pieces of artwork, and so be it. It's just a little bit more time for myself to do it, and obviously they're getting a more personalised stick. So, it's just the way things are at the moment. Yeah, the chickens get one. It's an old battery casing from a torch, um, repurposed into a scoop. Yeah, make do and mend for philosophy. But they have one of these full to start with in the morning, and we always see some days this would do them. Other days they seem to want a little bit more. But hey, that's pretty much like us. Happy chickens. Let's tip this water out and give them fresh. This job here in itself turns into a full job when it's icy and it's all frozen over. Our cats live in the outhouse. They got their beds on top of the tumble dryer and fridge. But one of them's been going into the chicken straw and has basically been pulling it and making nests and pulling it apart. So I've got to sort that later. Got to keep checking every day the cat flap because the kids, or to the youngest one, does play around with it, and we've had occasions where he's locked the cat flap so they can either not get in or get out. One egg so far, and then you've got to get the dirty bit out and get some clean for them to go in. And this here will have to be cleaned out. That nest box seems to be not being used at the moment. Not sure why. I used to all go between the two, but they seem to be favouring that one at the moment. Cody's trike, I've got to fix a puncture in that now. He ended up going over a thorn and it was about 6 inches long, so I've got to get that fixed, get a puncture repair kit. Getting ready to go. Safety first, Cody. Seat belts. Good boy. It is nice after I've dropped Cody off to just sometimes stop on the way home the lanes and just have a little look around. You hear the birds and that. You can see the forest down there. Kit Hill's covered, you can't see that. That would be over there. It's a big hill with a big monument tower on it. And on clear days you can see the moors, Dartmoor. But yeah, sometimes I just like to spend 5 or 10 minutes just having a little look around. This field's been planted here, so come, shall we say, midsummer, that'll be ready to harvest. Yeah, it's nice when it's like this, particularly after all the rain and wind we've just had. Just noticed in the hedge there's these wild daffodils here growing. I don't know if they're self-sown or somebody at some point put them here, but yeah, I'll keep an eye on these. And they look quite well advanced forward compared to ours on the opposite side of the valley. You can really hear the birds. They all seem really happy that there's no wind. I can see a great tit up in the branches there jumping around. Yeah, there is signs that that winter is kind of finishing, and it's a bit early at the moment. I just hope for a lot of the wildlife we don't get that sharp hit of cold weather that you usually get in around about the beginning of April, because it will hit them really hard, because like I said, everything's coming out really early this year. Yeah, looking back down this hill gets really difficult with leaf litter in the worst of the winter months, but it's not too bad at the moment. Usually come up here, sometimes you get the wheels spinning and you lose some traction, so you never even attempt it when it's snowy or there's a danger of any real ice conditions. You need a four-wheel drive when it gets too bad there. I'm not sure if I'm on shift tonight or tomorrow, but in any case, you know, I'm at home. I wait for the call out in this particular game. So I'm at home, so, you know, it's not really too big a hardship. I'm at home with the wife and kids. It's just that when you do get the call, it is literally instantaneous. You have to go. That being said, I can't get out of my head. Do I scamper off for a surf? I'm pretty sure the wife and youngest, which hasn't got school today, I don't have any obligations other than what I've already done with helping out around the house and doing the bits and bobs. I know I'm going to get a little bit of firewood up if I do scamper off. And if I do scamper off, it's got to be quick, because obviously I've got school run, and I do know there's more than likely got to be some domestic chores or shopping that needs to be done. But in the back of my mind, I can't get away from the fact, do I go or don't I go? I would love a wave, and I would have gone years ago, but I just kind of try to monitor my fuel usage now, in the manner of, am I going to get enough personal reward for the fuel I've spent? And, you know, that's a dilemma that I'm in, and I know there's a lot of people would be in a dilemma of, you know, which they are, heating and eating, as you hear on the news. And then on top of that, you know, a lot of people still have to factor in the getting to the work, their workplaces. I've been there in the past, in my past life, and that, you know, where, you know, every pound counted that you put in the car. But fortunately, that's not the case. But then again, you know, as I keep saying to the wife, I've been there, I've done it, and in a past life, and I'm 50, well, gone past 50 now, so, you know, I would like to think that, you know, I'm owed a little bit of, shall we say, slowing down, but that's not the case for everybody, and I'm fully aware of that. Well, I did scamper down, and I'm going to go in. It's looking pretty dire, so this is basically just about me getting in now. Pretty much the same as what it was on the last occasion I came down. Right, let's go grab some food and get home. I've got a lot to do. just got home and I've now got to go and get a load of wood, stack up outside for tonight. This wood burner is quite efficient. It doesn't use very much at all. We've got it throttled right back, and something like what's in there now will probably stay for probably an hour and a half, just like that. So it's pretty efficient. I do actually cook on top of it as well, so that's something I'll show you guys at some point later on, and show you some of the recipes that I cook on top of it. But yeah, I use it for heat, cooking, and a little bit of light when you know, you just turn the lights off, and it's quite nice to sit beside just the firelight. I usually keep a load of wood, as you can see, ready to go there. When it's raining, that's stocked up, it's there, and this complete container's worth will do 24 hours or more. I've got one little piece here, that's a little bit left over from what I brought up. I only get a few more pieces to put there just for tonight. I probably won't use this till I've got to use it, but yeah, it's nothing fancy. It's, you know, just an old drum cut off, make a flap, keeps the wood dry up here. So yeah, you don't have to go spending big amounts of money. But I never take firewood into the house for one reason: you don't know what insects or bugs or anything like wood burrowing insects could be in those bits of wood, because let's face it, they've been seasoned for 12 months. There you go, 2 white ones, nothing in there. We're finding that if we load up 2 big pieces like that, or should we say that kind of diameter, 2 of those, and have it throttled right back, and that's loaded at about 11 o'clock, that will just be embers when we come down at 6 o'clock in the morning, still giving out some heat. So like I said, that fire is really efficient, and we don't have to put our oil central heating on at all once we've got that. Now we've had that wood burner installed. If you start it and allow it to have 24 hours and you keep it ticking over, our whole house will stay warm. Obviously, if you start it for an evening, it doesn't have the chance to heat the house with ambient temperature. So we keep it just ticking over, and like I said, we don't have to even touch our central heating. It's a bit of a pain having the tumble dryer out here, but it was kind of in the way in the house. But it does mean that somebody ends up being dedicated for the tumble dryer run, no matter what the weather is or time of day. We do actually have a clothesline, but the kids have played with all the pegs and they're no longer in existence, so we need new pegs before we can use the clothesline. And this is where our bins are, tucked out the way, and the wind has just blown all the lids off. Keep the lids on to stop the cats and anything else that might want to try and get in there. So they're all sorted. Yeah, things have been a bit rushed in the making of sticks, and as you can see, I've just got my power tools left everywhere. Not good practice, and I should get them picked up in a moment. Just on the school run, and this is a phenomena every parent has had to deal with since the invention of schools. School shoes absolutely caked in mud, and you've got to figure out how you clean them without getting them wet, because they have to be good to go tomorrow morning. Jesus, how did he get them so muddy as that? Our blackcurrant bush is just starting to throw buds. I don't know much about these plants because we were actually given this plant, or shall we say somebody wanted it out of their garden for sort of project they were doing, and they said anybody that can dig it up can take it. Well, my wife said she wanted it, so I spent a couple hours digging this thing out of somebody's rockery, trying not to damage it, but it's actually survived. And we had black currants last year, and it's looking like it's survived the winter, and it looks like it's in good healthy condition. This is the kids' Wendy house. It's quite handy because this is where all the kids' plastic play stuff lives. But as you can see, it's completely all over the garden. Somebody's going to have to pick that up, and I think it's going to be me. Freezing cold water dripping out of those boots. Must be mad going in, must be mad. Right, I'm on shift from 6, that's been confirmed. I've actually looked at the rotor, and I've got to shave, shower and get cleaned up for that, because you never know when you might get called. And I've got a package to open, so I'm going to go and have a look and see what the delivery company's just dropped off. Well, the kids have gone up. I'm down here just having a cup of tea and just pondering things and thinking about things and thinking about what me and the wife have just been discussing. So it turns out my passport is out of date, which isn't a problem because I've got plenty of time to sort it. But we're starting to get all the things ready for our road trip across Spain and Portugal. Now, that may not be a big thing if you're doing it on your own or with a couple of adults, but we've got the logistical nightmare of 2 young boys and on top of that a teenage girl, and we're all travelling in a 7-seater, but that still doesn't give you a lot of luggage room, so we're trying to figure out what we need, what we're going to take, how we're basically going to manage. And it might seem a bit early or over, shall we say, zealous in our planning, but unfortunately I've got past experience that if you don't sort of like keep on top of things and start just gently rolling into it, things do tend to creep up on you, and then it's lastminute.com. Everybody's panicking, everybody's trying to get stuff sorted or plan things, and it starts to become from being a exciting road trip through Spain and Portugal to something like you're completing a sprint just to make it even happen. My wife's very fond of reminding me of a surf come family trip to Fuerteventura. Now, we were staying at a place called Coralejo, but that wasn't really the point of what I'm about to talk. The point was leaving here in Cornwall and getting to Bristol, the airport where we were leaving from. Well, as the story goes, me being me, time drifted on. Yeah, we'll be alright, yeah, we'll be alright, we'll be alright. Now, the weather reports were like light showers, but as soon as we hit the M5, those light showers weren't showers. It was blanket, sideways rain, and it was of such a heaviness. Your windscreen wipers were going as fast as they can, but they could not keep up with the volume of water. It's one of those, like, you know, torrential downpours, but it was all the way to Bristol. So what should have been a 65, 70 mile an hour car journey up to Bristol ended up being a 25, 30 mile an hour crawl, along with all the other traffic caught up in this with us. Well, by the time we got to Bristol Airport, sorted out the car, got into the airport, did all the necessaries, and obviously got through to the plane with kids. We were being ushered down the aisle to the aeroplane. We were the last ones going on. They were virtually closing the door, and we actually had to really push ourselves hard to get through the airport, and even with the help of the I won't call them flight crew. I think they're sort of like the attendants for that particular airline, helping us get all our stuff to the relevant location. We were the last ones getting on the plane. So, and as we got on the plane, they were shutting the door behind us, and you're greeted by a plane full of faces looking at you, going, "You sure you couldn't have planned this just a little bit better?" Like I say, it was literally that close. They were shutting the door on the plane to go. But hey, we made it, and we laugh about that. But unfortunately, we had another trip where it was pretty much the same situation, down to, should we say, an easy going, should we say, philosophy that always turns out bad when unforeseen circumstances kicks you up the ass. So lesson learned this time, we're going to start planning and start making some movement to get ourselves ready, because I don't want to be the person with everybody pointing the finger at again, and everybody's kind of half expecting that from me this time as well. Just out of interest, this wood burner isn't designed to be used for cooking or doing what I do, as in boiling water, and you should always get a wood burner to suit your needs, and that's been designed for what you want it to do. So what I'm doing here is totally incorrect, but you know, this is just entertainment purposes, and obviously what I'm just showing you is you know, don't repeat it yourself. You know, it's just one of those things you've got to say. But that kettle is a camping kettle, or one of those similar ones, and it was found on a free site. A gentleman just put it up there, wanted to get rid of it. It was kicking around his garage, so we picked it up. It's stainless steel, and it's serving us very well. And as you can see, we boil our water in it. With the wood burner, to utilise it, if you're going to cook or do what I'm doing there, boiling a kettle, obviously, you know, there's not a lot of control as to regards to the heat. Basically, you throw, if I've got it throttled right back, you lose some of the heat. If I want to boil the water, I just throttle it open. Obviously more air comes in, obviously the hotter the flame and the quicker the water boils, because obviously more heat, the metal gets a lot hotter. And it's a bit like when I went to my grand's back in the day, you know, many moons ago, before she passed. You'd have the Rayburn. It would be absolute, even on a summer's day, you know, because it was their only means of cooking. It would be raging hot in there, and you couldn't even bear being in there if she was like cooking cakes and biscuits and buns, because basically you're reliant on this kind of heat. But I'm pretty sure the people in Scotland who've been without power, and indeed if I'm ever in that position without power, this will be the perfect solution for that. Like I said, heat, able to cook, boil water, and we've got light. But yeah, like I said, this isn't a stove that's designed for what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, so I don't recommend anybody do what I'm doing. But like I said, it's brilliant for how I'm using it in this circumstance. But yeah, I've just had a cup of tea from it, and I just thought I'd show you that a little bit, just out of interest. But yeah, free kettle found on a free site by a gentleman who was just clearing out his garage, and he was more than happy to let us have it. So yeah, it's like I said previously, I'm on shift, and the kids are all being put to bed, and just waiting for Jamie to come down so we can have an adult conversation and carry on chatting. And it's just basically the rhythm of our house at this time of day on a school weekday. But because me and Jamie are older parents, we are kind of looking forward to the fact when they both get to school, the same school, so we don't have to do different schools. So yeah, that'll make life easier. And on top of that, when they are at school, obviously we will then have Monday to Friday together for a vast period of the day together, and be able to I know, enjoy each other's company. Because like I said, I'm over 50, Jamie's an older mum herself, and we've given up a portion of our life at this particular stage of um, you know our relationship, when other people our age are on the golf course or in the hair salon, or doing things together, because obviously kids have kind of become more independent. So yeah, you know, we're kind of looking forward within the next, I know it's under 12 months now, I think it's September, but when that happens, we should be able to start getting some of our life back, and it won't revolve so heavily around the schools and having split different sessions for different age groups. They'll be at the same school for the same amount of hours, giving us a portion of the day to ourselves again. Jamie had one of those heated spas that was given to her for a present, but I've got a big project that I've got to undertake, which is the gravel outside of my back door, which leads to where I've got my barbecue area, is gravelled. And there's only so much you can do with gravel, so I've decided I'm going to remove that and put a concrete base down. That serves two purposes, because that particular area outside our back door is heavily used, but I cannot abide gravel. It's a waste of ground. It hurts when you stand on it in the summer with your bare feet. It lets weeds come up. It's not stable for chairs to sit on. It is everything I consider wrong with, I would say it's everything that is not pleasant or makes it not pleasant being in your garden. Gravel. I hate this stuff. So I'm going to remove that and get a nice base put down. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, but obviously I'll let you guys see how I go about that when I get to it. But it's got to be done, I've been told, by late spring, so we can get this spa bubble heated pool thing going. So so I've got my orders on that, and I'll get that sorted. But I don't like concreting as well, because obviously it's not good for the environment, as in it doesn't help water soak away in that. But I'm compensating that for out the front. I'm going to use gravel yet again. Whoever had this house before, so they loved gravel. The gravel from the front, which has got like black mesh underneath, but it's like tight weave fabric, which supposedly stops weeds, but it never does. But it also stops water going through to the ground, so we tend to get a little bit of flooding out the front. So I'm going to remove that. I'm putting the complete front bit back into lawn, and I'm utilising that gravel to as 3/4 dust for when I make the pad out the back, and using it in the cement mix. But that can only go on the bottom bit. I'm going to have to put a top screen over the top of when I do the cement, because obviously this thing is like a blow up one, if that makes sense. These pump up ones, it's not a hard, firm, rigid one, this pool. So yeah, I'm going to get the front, like I said, bring that back to lawn, so that'll have clear drainage. So I'm compensating, taking drainage away on one area of the garden by opening it up at the front. So I haven't specifically just made my situation worse, shall I say. Well, that was just a little fireside chat while I'm sitting here waiting for the phone to ring while I'm on shift. You know, you never know when it's going to go. That's the worst thing. You know, you sit here and it doesn't go off. Then you go to bed, and at some strange time, you think you hear a phone, and then it turns out it is the phone. Then you're running around to get your clothes on and get out the door at strange hours. But that's the game that it is. So, yeah, just a little bit of a fireside chat there, basically, and you know, just another, should we say, quiet little day down here in Cornwall. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of, shall we say, more entertaining or thrilling things to see us get up to. But I just put together a very small snapshot of my day, really. So, okay, I'm going to call this a day. It's Andy from Folklore Hiker Sticks.